Untitled Organic Tequila is so crisp, so incredibly smooth, it's simply in a category by itself. This is luxury. Life tastes better naturally, so should your tequila. This is Toledo. Enjoy responsibly. Visit ToledoTequila.com to get your bottle of Toledo Organic Tequila. Get a 10% discount on DJ the Money Coach by entering promo code MONEY at checkout. Again, that's ToledoTequila.com, promo code MONEY to get 10% off your Toledo purchase. Now, let's start the show. Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy, a brand new series brought to you by DJ the Money Coach. Thank you for joining us. And before we get started, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the 7 Spheres of Money on YouTube. So now let's get into the show. So last week we had Tanya. Tanya's back with us. How you doing, Tanya?
Awesome, Nick. Thanks for asking. Of
course. So we had Cheryl and Astoria as well, and the ladies gave their backstories. Starting from the childhood years up to the present time. And we have our next regular panelist here with us today, Miss Stacia Robinson, and we'll have her introduce herself in just a few minutes. But before we do that, so Tanya, you want to talk a little bit about last week's conversation? I know you didn't get to watch the final product yet, but you were a part of the conversation. You were right in the midst of it. So how was it?
Oh my goodness, it was so amazing, Nick. It's so many wonderful topics, so many, and just being and talking to, and so much dialogue with the other ladies, Cheryl and Astoria. We found out we had so much in common and just some wonderful topics. And I just can't wait to continue on with various things that affect women and the community and the family. So awesome. I can't look forward to future dialogues. And I'm just so happy to be here with Stacia and trying to understand her background and having great dialogue with her as well.
We'll make it happen.
Yes, we will. And I have a feeling that we will, you two will have some things in common as well. All right, so how you doing? How are you, Stacia? Thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to be invited. Thank you so much. I'm doing well, and I always look forward to a time to collaborate on these very topics with these people present. So thank you. I'm doing fine.
Okay, great. So Stacia, before we go into your backstory, we want to give you an opportunity to tell your story so we can get the audience caught up and get you caught up. Why are you excited about this women's show, and what can the audience expect to hear from learning about your experiences, your life experiences, and your wisdom?
Well, I would say what I'm most excited about is not just to tell my story, but to tell stories, period, about what people do to overcome and essentially do what I always say, pay their dues. Many times I have the chance to mentor others as I was mentored, and it includes essentially the concept that I tell people I'm a 20-year success. I'm an overnight success that took me 20 years. But it's really longer than that, and there's a lot to it. And of course, I'm excited to hear about the mindsets that people have to overcome life itself, because life happens to everybody. And so essentially looking to hear the stories of how people break through and move on and still grow in the midst of life challenges.
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you for that introduction, Stacia. We're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, you can give us some more background about, who you are, what you do, and then start telling your story from the beginning. So we'll be right back with Bet on Black.
Hi, I'm DJ the Money Coach. Don't touch that dial. You want to become financially independent? You want to have consumer debt freedom? You want to have passive income, learn how to build a business, acquire real estate, and achieve the lifestyle you deserve in 2021? Well, hit that link below right now We've worked with over 20,000 people in the past 2 decades, helping them become consumer debt free, increase their credit scores by 30 to 60 points in 30 days or less, and help them acquire businesses through real estate, taxes, and a network of experts just like me. So you'll get a complete 3-hour, 18-module course called Family Finance 101 that'll teach you A to Z how to become consumer debt free, credit worthy, and it put you in position to become a certified entrepreneur. We'll also give you a complimentary consultation with me that's a $500 value. Why would you want to do that? Because I have already achieved that, and I can help you achieve your American dream in 2021. Hit the link below, get the free webinar and the complimentary consultation, and I'll see you soon and wish you a pom-pom lifestyle that's plenty of money and peace of mind. Come join us.
Welcome back to Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy. New series brought to you by DJ the Money Coach. So now that we got the introduction out of the way, let's go into the first part of Stacia's story. So Tanya, go ahead and take it over and ask Stacia the first question.
Hi, Stacia. We're going to take it back from the early, from your early days into high schools. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who was Stacia? What made Stacia who she is through high school? So kind of take us back, take us through the story to get us up to speed through high school.
Well, it's just fun to tell because I haven't told it in a while. I'm actually originally born and raised in Denver, Colorado. And my parents, my mother was from Arkansas. My dad was from Oklahoma. They met in Denver as teachers. And, but it actually goes back into my both grandparents on both sides, which I would call entrepreneurs and business owners. My grandfather was a black cowboy. He had a farm, and that's how he actually hired people to help him run the farm. And then on the other side in Arkansas, my grandfather, I did not have a chance to meet him, apparently had a store, the black store in El Dorado, Arkansas. It had a barber shop, a store, a gas station. This was back in the 30s. And they apparently had like the first phone in that time frame. So entrepreneurship is in my blood. But I always thought about a quick little side thought about the first phone. I was like, who were they calling? But anyway, fast forward, I would have to say that in high school, entrepreneurship was really a thought planted from my mom. She actually was a teacher, as I mentioned, and she actually, let me back up and add one thing. My father actually passed away at age 42 of the heart attack. He was the first Black person to work for the Department of Agriculture in the state of Colorado. And you can imagine in 1975, that was a lot of stress. But my mother was left raising 3 kids. I'm the oldest of 3. But she was the money person. So talk about DJ the Money Coach, it was my mother. and thankfully I'm in the insurance business, but thankfully they took care of it. And my dad they had discussed what to do with the insurance money, and our lifestyle didn't change. I think that's a really important viewpoint of how I look at life in general, to take care of your business, your family's business, and take care of your family. And after that, my mother actually started a Shackley business. And the systems and thought processes of building a business, we stocked our shelves. She treated it like a business. She raised us. That was the income that she brought in. She actually got to the level of getting a car and everything else. But we were the ones who filled the orders. And she had us actually teach classes and training. So this would have been junior high school and beginning of high school. We also had access to junior achievement in high school. And so that was another layer of perspective to actually have a corporate thought about business. And so that's really where I come from. The name of our company back then was called Orc Enterprises. So I'm telling my age. That came from the TV show Mork and Mindy.
Mork and Mindy. I was about to ask who's that Mork and Mindy.
And so I was the president of our corporation. We made cutting boards, and we made the cutting board I actually still have. And I still use, we cut it out of wood, stained it, and put tile on it. And I still use it today, 40 something years later.
Wow.
And my brother is an entrepreneur. He has a screen printing business, which he's owned for 30 years. And so it's really in my blood. So after learning how to do training, build a team, and sell product and watch the numbers, that's what kind of brought us here today. One of my most favorite stories to tell when we're talking about entrepreneurship and money and my mother, when I was 15, my dad had passed away, so 15, she called each one of us in and asked us, how much do we think it costs to raise us? And so she had us write down every cost, our clothes, food, lunch money. I played the violin lessons, the piano lessons. Me too. See, we got all kinds of common.
All stuff in common, yeah.
Now we all met separately, so it was a different amount for each of the three of us. And you already know the story's going. She said, well, I'm going to divide that by 12. I'm going to give you your money every month, and you take care of you.
And you take care of the money.
So first month, you already know I spent it in the first week or so, whatever. And so I go back to her like the second week and tell her that I need some more money for my violin lesson, because you want me to take violin, right?
Right.
Oh, she said, I will drive you to go tell him why you don't have that man's money.
You have to go. If she made it your responsibility.
Exactly. She drove me down there, and I will never forget the look on his face. And I'm almost 60 years old. And it was only $4. Because, when you think about it, you have accountability to be aware of, to be a steward of the resources you do have. And he made his time available to teach me. There was an agreement for an exchange of what that cost for the value of his time.
Wow.
And you can best believe that didn't happen again. So stewardship, entrepreneurship, and all that directly comes from my family and
at
exposure to at an early age, Shackley business and all of that. What does it cost to take care of you? So, and she also did contracts with us. My sister just reminded me of that she would give contracts. She said, these are the things that have to get done around this house. Who's going to do what? She had a signed contract.
That is so awesome that that you come from a line of entrepreneurs. It was instilled early on, and then to this day. So that is so very, very awesome. I do have a question, and you kind of said it, and it was just so powerful. You said when your dad passed, your lifestyle didn't change. What do you mean by that? Can you expound on that?
Apparently, they had discussed in detail what to do about the life insurance money. First of all, they had to have it. And my mom, of course, she always said she never thought that would come to pass. And it was discussed, apparently, that they would pay the house off so that all she would have to worry about in raising us was to pay for our living expenses of food, utilities, and kind of the other conversation to that includes to be able to go to school wherever we wanted. So I had scholarships. My mom is the one who made sure that we were prepared. I was required to take AP classes. I struggled. School was not easy for me. but she instilled in us to make sure that we had access to the information so that we could qualify. I actually did pretty well on the ACT, but it wasn't because I was smart. It was because I was exposed.
Woo, that is awesome. Yep. And that's kind of something we kind of got into, Nick, last week, in terms of, even though Stacia was entrepreneur, that was something that was instilled with her, but also that education part. And we kind of got into that last week about having, last episode was to have the options. Stacia probably already knew she wanted to be an entrepreneur, but what was instilled in her was the education to get her to exposure. And so I think that's something that I just, I think that's a common that we've seen is entrepreneurship is great, but is my opinion, having that educational part of it is also, rather it be, and the story I brought up, whether it be trade or just your traditional, some type of education is needed, even for entrepreneurs. I feel that those two together is just give you so many more options and choices. So
100%.
Yep. And I agree. You get you do get the skills from education, and like you mentioned, Tanya, the exposure, but you also get what DJ calls in one of the letters in this acronym STEAM, the access, and the mentorship, schools, campuses, those are great places to network, to build your network and to start to build your network, because you're surrounded by a bunch of young people who are like-minded. They have similar goals, and you all in a similar position, and you all are working together to reach those future goals. So education definitely has its multi-purpose, when it comes to developing our skills and developing our networks and developing our net worth. And you also mentioned some very key items, such as taking care of your business and being accountable. That's another thing. DJ always talks about self-accountability and discipline, and you were exposed to that at a young age, in addition to the importance of being a steward of your money. So I think that's a good place to put a pause on this part of your timeline of your backstory. We'll go to a break, and when we come back, we will go into the college years. So we'll be right back.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
What's up, everyone? I'm Renee Bishop, and I'm an IT consultant. I've been working with DJ and Melvin now for about a month now. I was debt-free before speaking with them, and I had investments in my retirement and brokerage accounts, but I knew I needed guidance on how I could take my finances to the next level and put myself in the position to be free of my 9-to-5 and build generational wealth for my 2 kids. So far, they've advised me on setting up life insurance and trust to protect my assets. They've created a comprehensive financial plan for me and provided me with recommendations on how I can get my IT consultant business up and running. And they've helped me increase my credit score in less than 30 days from a 705 to a 730. They've also provided me with real estate opportunities once I get my real estate agent license, which I'm currently working on. I'm excited to continue on this journey to implement the financial plan. Excited to continue to counsel with DJ, Melvin and their team, and just excited to be a part of that pom-pom lifestyle.
Welcome back to Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, subscribe to the 7 Spheres of Money on YouTube. So you just heard the early life, childhood up through high school. So now, Stacia, let's talk about your college years. You know, where did you attend college? What did you study? And yeah, let's go from there.
Okay, well, as I mentioned in the segment before, went to a high school where my mom made sure that I was exposed to accelerated placement classes. She also then made sure that I went to a seminar that I didn't want to go to be honest. It was to go find out what it would take to get a ROTC scholarship. I was like, I am not interested in the military. She said, you still need to go see what they have. And so fast forward, I actually did get an Air Force scholarship. And it was a full scholarship. And I can say that I was not aware of the importance of that till actually after I graduated from college. And so I had tuition and fees paid for. I got another scholarship to pay for board, and they paid $100 a month for incidentals, you know, that was. And of course, she told me that if I lose it, I'm coming home, but I didn't really realize. All I had to do was go take the little voucher over there to the other people. And like I said, I did not realize the importance of that. I ended up going to HBCU. I went to Spelman College in Atlanta. It's the only place that I applied. I do remember my mother saying, what if you don't get in? And that honestly didn't occur to me that I wouldn't. I mean, I didn't.
Wasn't an option.
But I also have to add the story that it's very interesting that I add this element. So from Denver, Colorado to Spelman was culture shock. But I tell people it's because of a white lady that I went to Spelman. My mother went to the University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff in Arkansas. It was called Arkansas A&M back then. And that's where my family on her side went. My uncles, my aunt, my sister and brother ended up going there. And then my dad went to Langston and he majored in agriculture. My mother majored in music. So Spelman was, I'm the one who's going to do something different. But the reason I say it's because of a white lady that I went to Spelman is because we befriended a white family that worked with my dad, and we've stayed friends with them up until this day. We, when I was in 11th grade, the lady's name, her name is Pat Allstott, and I always give her credit. She was a librarian, and she gave me the book, Born to Rebel, about Benjamin Mays. Benjamin Mays was the president of Morehouse College. And when I read that book, I was just quite frankly floored that I had not seen the history that he talked about in my history class. And I just had to go to Atlanta. We did do the Black College tour and saw all the other schools, but that's, like I said, I only applied to Spelman. I did get in. Probably wouldn't make it nowadays because it's so competitive after Different World made it all famous and everything, but that's where I went. And
also showing our age again. Different
hey,
World,
whatever. I've been,
loved it.
I say major blessed and highly favored. And then during that time, I actually had to take I was a dual degree major where we were to go to Spelman for 3 years and then go to Georgia Tech for 2 years. And I realized that engineering was not my calling. So by the time I got to my junior year, and I realized, which I obviously wasn't reading the fine print, that the scholarship was only for 4 years and I'd have to come up with the rest of it if I were to go. So I was like, and I struggled in math but I actually scored the highest in math on my ACT, and I had to have a technical degree to go into the Air Force. I owed them 4 years after I did that. So by the time I was a junior, I said, what do I have the most credits in? Math. I'm a math major. So anybody who knows me, I'm a math major by default because I wanted to take all of my other classes. I was in the orchestra. I took Spanish. I placed out of the first year Spanish and English and all that stuff because of the AP classes, but that's not what my scholarship was for. But could connect high school to college again, back to where I mentioned that Shackley, I actually made some extra money, and I have some of my classmates remind me, we used to go buy soap from you. They bought soap and vitamins, and I actually sponsored some people in the Shackley back then while I was in the dorm in school. So that was always kind of a
Still doing it.
one thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And wanted to add one other thought and comment and perspective about education. Education, more specifically to me, is to really help people focus on learning how to learn. And people learn in different ways. And if you can figure out how you learn, doesn't matter where you learn it or how you learn it, you can always be growing throughout life. And I just see that as a big deal. So from college, the HBCU and the culture shock, I had to go across town from Spelman to Georgia Tech for ROTC.
Okay.
And I hated that just because it was so different. The movie School Days was exactly how my experience was at Spelman. Of course, Spike Lee went to Morehouse, and it all, we could name everybody, every character he had in there were people that we know and love, you know, different dynamics, concepts. During that time, got to see Prince in concert. Jesse Jackson was running for president back then. We were big on social action. So it's all part of exposure. I will add one other little thing about growing up. It was my mother's mindset to expose us to as many different kinds of people as we could. I grew up very multiculturally. I went to a Black Presbyterian church. We had a Japanese minister.
That's awesome.
Because a lot of people are not aware that there were internment camps in Colorado. And that's where our pastor and his wife actually met each other, was in the concentration camps that they had in Colorado. The German Jews, all of that. So that really was a bigger culture shock for me, not to have the visible example of women doing things, as well as, you know, Black people doing more outside of just, I won't say just, but mostly in the South, it seemed that Black people were mostly exposed and involved in politics and government and education, not so much entrepreneurship. So that's just kind of a backstory observation.
Awesome. Now, when you say still a lot of similarities, I was an engineer, so engineer major. So there's another. One of the things that we did speak about in on our first episode was in terms of culture shock that came up before, Nick. So in terms of, you're saying you had a culture shock coming from Colorado to Spelman, and what does that mean? And then you said you had another transition from Spelman to your other school, Georgia Tech, I believe you said it was. So can you tell us about what you mean with the culture shock, and what did you do to get over that culture shock, if anything?
Well, it's certainly having a lot of conversations and dialogue. The culture shock for me was really just seeing all these fine Black men, just to be real about it, Tanya. But I felt like I was in the chocolate ice cream store. Like everywhere you look, like, oh man. So you don't get over that, just to be real, but
Yeah.
and just the intellectual conversations, because I honestly did not realize how much I was, as we are aware of as Black folks in this country, being who you needed to be with whatever group you were around. They didn't have conversations about Black people in my high school. We did in my church, and certainly my mom did, in my family, but it wasn't discussed outside of that. And so that was the shock of it as well, to actually talk through what Black people experience all over the globe, not just, of course, in Denver or Atlanta, but the conversation from there to other institutions like the military. That was a whole different thing, because I was the only Black person in my field training class. I was the only one out of 20 something folks in my group. And it was, you get a lot of confidence being at somewhere like Spelman, because there's two things you don't have to deal with. You don't have to deal with sexism or racism, being at an all-girls school, and that is very powerful. So as far as getting over it, I would say that it actually gave me a strong foundation to go try risk and just do things that I wanted to try. Anything I wanted to do, I did. When I got out of college, my first duty station was to go to my training school in Biloxi, Mississippi. That was for 9 months. And then I was told that, well, I wanted to go overseas. So I went to Germany, and they were telling me, well, they never send lieutenants for their first duty station overseas. I was like, I'll just let them tell me no. But they that's where I went for 2 years. And it's the exposure concept. My mother, again, as you can tell, there's a powerful force in my life. She would, in the summer times, we would get up, get breakfast, and she would say, let's go get lost. And so I noticed that a lot of people are very uneasy being in environments that they aren't used to. And we would just drive all over Colorado, and we met some of the most unusual people. And that's still a big interest of mine, to travel and meet people that are different than I am.
Different. Life learners. That's how we learn.
Yes,
And
yes.
That's how I always say we have to learn. One of the things that we did speak about, and I know this is off, we'll do it in another segment, but the HBCU versus the PWI, predominantly white institutions, and we had a mix that was on there. And one of the things, I went to Purdue University, which was a predominantly white institution. And one of the things that I do notice, just in terms of in life now, is a lot of the HBCU and people that went there, their confidence level is a little different. And so that was something that I've always looked at, saying, okay, you know, they're confident. That's something that you said. It is a sense of confidence and pride. I think that's what it is. Well,
yes.
Where your pride. So that is something that we did talk about. I think we will have another discussion versus I'm talking about the HBCUs versus the PWIs, because there are some things, while we see that, there are some things that I saw on the corporate side,
right?
Being a corporate manager, how things are. So I think that is something that we do need to talk about on, the surface and the behind the scenes part. I think things are changing now. I can just say, because we are having a lot of light with, our vice president and a lot of people that went to HBCUs, and it's opening up the world. But I can say, being in corporate for the many years that I was in, when we recruited, it was certain places we recruited versus others, for different things. So that is something that's, hey, we need to talk about. Is there. I think it's changing, but it was there. So.
Oh, I'll have a lot to say about that when we get to that segment.
Oh yeah. Yep. Because you know, Astoria, she attended in the HBCU, was also as well as myself, you know, and actually the similarity between Astoria and I is that we got the HBCU experience during undergrad, and then we attended the PWI for the advanced degree, the grad, you know, for grad school. We were able to kind of juxtapose those two experiences, and you know, of course, we agree with the pride and the confidence of the HBCU, but we also had our pains with the HBCUs, and these are common pains across the 100+ HBCUs that are in existence. So yes, that would be a great conversation, an interesting conversation once we get everyone together to have that. That might just have to be the next topic, you know.
Hey, bring it. Well, my family, my husband and my kids, PWIs all day. So, but my nephew went to Hampton, so we got to hold it down for the HBCUs.
A house divided, but a house together.
Oh,
House
yes.
united, but divided. Yeah.
But
It's all good. It's all good.
No, not Hampton.
Yes, he went to Hampton, and he's a journalism major, but he's doing really well. He works for Sports Illustrated now. He's doing very well. Proud of him.
That is so funny, the irony in that. You know, my expression is because I went to Howard. That's
that was your side. I got you.
That was the reason for my expression, but the ironic,
that was your rival school.
Yeah, exactly. But the ironic thing about it is that I majored in journalism as well.
Well, he's worked at the Major League Baseball, Sports Illustrated, and yeah, he's doing well. He got some excellent exposure.
Great. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's largely in part because of the HBCU experience.
Exactly.
You know, like you mentioned, Tanya, these major companies, they have to fill these these positions, so they specifically come to the HBCUs to recruit. I remember every year going to the School of Communications career fair, and all of the major news organizations, marketing firms, PR firms, they would all come to our student center, and and they would recruit there. So I mean, and that was just a communication school. The same thing happened in the business school, and
that's right,
the social sciences, and all. Yep. So yes, it's a different experience. And just one last thing before we go to the next break about the HBCU experience that of course we will expand on when we have this conversation, is the fact that our success is also due to that tight-knit community and that nurturing that we got from our professors. So starting out, we might have had the big lecture hall for orientation, but once you actually got into your major classes, those classrooms got smaller, and those professors really, they were like your parents away from home, right. just about, and
they pour into you and make you step up.
Yeah, but exactly, they made you step up. They set the bar high, the expectations high, and that's what breeds excellence. Why we have so many notable HBCU alum is because of that training that we received during our tenure there. So yeah.
Quick little aside, I just heard this week Felicia Rashad is going to be dean of
the dean of Howard. Yeah,
like
the fine arts. Yeah, the fine arts school.
Fine arts. Yes. And I would say that with my experience, definitely, while you probably had more, we did for the students, African American students, we did have those type of programs or the places where we were our safe havens, where we had our professors and our African American professors that gave us scholarships, that was there just like you would at a HBCU, but on a smaller, more intimate note, because of, again, we were 3% of the population. So, so I'm gonna have to say, you know, for a lot of the PWIs, we did get that nurturing, but on a more small level. And again, for myself, in terms of the nurturing and that what I needed in terms of connection, the sororities and fraternities. So that was a big part of me and my growth and my time at the PWIs, being in those organizations and other organizations. I was an engineer, so national NASB and just a lot of those offices. We had a minority engineering program, which kind of cultivated all of that on a smaller level. So we wouldn't be left on the wayside from, from the university. So had to throw my little plug in there too.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that for sure. Because I married one.
Okay.
From Georgia Tech.
Yes. So.
Okay. All right. Well, on that note, let's take another break, and we will bring things up to speed to today. So you are watching Bet on Black, and we'll be right back.
I created STEAM, STEAM. It's science, technology, engineering, access, and mentorship. And people might say, well, what happened to the math? Well, to me, it's self-explanatory. If you're going to be an engineer, you got to be good at math in some capacity. How does that translate when you go in these boardrooms with these Fortune 500 companies who just want to take money out of our community? How do you get them to, you know, humanize our experiences and actually give us the value without us having to be validated through their lens? People don't understand when you start out in business, you got to pay your team first before you pay yourself. I'm gonna say you got to pay your team first before you pay yourself, because you invested in a system. I'm excited about meeting you guys because I think you're stumbling on something that's going to actually dissolve that system and actually make you as the #1 player in the industry. Can you talk to that a little bit?
You know what I can say? I can say that I have chills, you know, right now at 4:19 Central Time, Thursday, March 4th, 2021 in Austin, Texas, hearing you say that. And I actually want to refer back to this clip whenever it is that we, you know, do achieve some milestone like $100 million of gross written premium.
The DJTMC Financial Experts Series is the #1 show featuring the hottest business professionals, working professionals, and entrepreneurs, from the seasoned vets to the rising stars. Email Nick at djthemoneycoach.com if you have what it takes to stand among the greats. Now back to the program. Welcome back to Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy. And we're going into our last segment now, and we're going to bring Miss Stacia's story up to speed to today. So we'll pick up with where she left off at the end of college, and let us take her on through where she is now and how she got into the employee benefits industry. So go ahead, Stacia, take it over and tell us about life after college.
All right. Well, life after college, as I mentioned earlier, took me from Biloxi, Mississippi to Germany. And I actually always knew I wanted to work for myself. The one thing that I learned a lot from the military included a lot of structure and hierarchy and all of that. At the heart of it, I think I don't like to be told what to do. So I think fast forward now, I'm unemployable in that regard, but there's a lot of things that I could map to having been in the military to my business. So I was in the Air Force for 7 years. We ended up, my husband and I actually got married in Denmark. He went to Georgia Tech. We met in Georgia Tech for ROTC. We didn't date then. Fast forward, we dated long distance, but got together and were stationed in Montgomery, Alabama. My sponsor from the military in Germany is the one. She actually ended up being stationed in Washington, D.C. and she started her Amway business. And so she recruited me to that, and it actually was heresy to my mom. So Shackley and Amway were similar, but they were not friends. And so when she heard that I was an Amway, it's like, oh my God. Anyway, long story short, I ended up sponsoring like 40 people. I knew exactly how to do it based on that experience with Shackley. I got out of the Air Force and continued to build my business based on the commercial side. I treated it like a business. I think a lot of people who get in network marketing don't know how to treat it like a business. You know, have goals, have benchmarks that measure what you want to hit and all of that. Well, I got out of the Air Force. My husband actually was medically retired and we ended up staying here. He's actually from Montgomery, Alabama. So I've become quite Southern. You could probably hear a little bit of drawl from Denver, Colorado, because I've been here for a long time. And when I got out, I was kind of surprised how disconnected I really was from the rest of the community. So I joined the Chamber of Commerce and got to know the community really well. I really built my network. I then, while I was still building my Amway business, read about a book called Working from Home. My kids were small. I needed that flexibility. And the book Working from Home talked about an organization called The Network. It's fast forward. It's now called Business Network International. I ended up being the 9th state to franchise BNI back in 1991. Now BNI is now worldwide. I watched it grow. It was phenomenal growth pattern, such that the whole process was to teach people how to build strategic alliances and give referrals to one another. So I did that from 91 to actually almost 25 years until 2015. In 1999, I would say, I was actually exposed to someone who had talked about business. And one of the main contracts that I represent in employee benefits is the Colonial Life. Her husband moved here from Dothan, Alabama, didn't know anybody. She told her husband that he needed to find out about BNI and me. And he told her, well, if she knows everybody, then we need her to do this. And so the conversation was really, I was open to doing, I'm always open to hear people about opportunities, always. And he pretty much said, you basically just need to talk to people about their benefits. We have a structure where you talk to the business owner and help them educate their employees about benefits. Well, I had previously joined a CEO roundtable, and the biggest complaint that people have about their employees' payroll is the biggest expense. And I said, all I have to do is talk to that, and we don't charge them for it. Oh, I can sell that. And along the way, we've talked already previously about the threat of education. I am a voracious volunteer in the community. I built a very strong network here in Montgomery, getting to know people in the nonprofit world and education and leadership Montgomery, leadership Alabama. And I know a lot of people. And so it lent itself very well to actually start my own business in 2000. I actually ran both BNI and BeneChoice companies for 15 years. Now, quite frankly, I don't recommend that. Running two businesses, because it's really hard to build strong systems in both and be really focused in doing that. But at the same time, I had the help of my CEO roundtable to help me make the decision, and also pretty much what Nick and when you all talk about with DJ the Money Coach, Dale talks about when you start a business, also talk about how you exit the business. and create passive income. And quite frankly, insurance is the only way that I know of that once you sell it, as long as they keep paying their premiums, you get rewarded for that. And it's been very financially fulfilling for me and my company to do that. I taught youth entrepreneurship back in the 90s, and something kind of sticks out when talking about education. I taught kids. My son was 9 years old. He was in my class. Of course, it was mandatory that they pretty much exposed all the stuff I was doing. And what really hooked me about it is once you teach people how to learn, when I got to the part to where we taught them how to do their income tax, I teach a 9-year-old to do their income tax. I said, can you add and subtract? Yes. And then some of them do what a lot of adults do today and say, well, I'll just pay somebody to do that for me. I say, well, you know what? They will charge you for the time that it takes for them to sort out something for you to pay attention to, which is how much money you bringing in, how much it costs you to do the business, and you pay taxes on that. I say, again, can you add or subtract? I'm like, yeah. And so teaching entrepreneurs the mindset is what I also really like, and educating people. Insurance is just another way to make your paycheck go further and protect your family, similar to what I mentioned earlier about making sure you pay attention to your finances. All money is just an exchange of your time for the value you give. Every dollar you get from somebody else comes from somebody else. So you've got to be bringing value to the table. And value, and not just what you think, because a lot of times I hear people talk about do what you're passionate about. Well, if nobody's paying for that, you gotta talk somebody else into exchanging their time that they got for the money they have, because it's of value to them.
Exactly.
So
I agree.
That's one of those triggers that say that go do what you're passionate about. Like, well, if nobody's paying for it, there's no market for that, then it's a waste of your time.
Awesome. So you had mentioned that you were in the Amway or doing multi-level marketing early on.
Yes.
Same here for me. One of the things that I can just say, because I did that right after college, I did Amway and then a slew of other multi-level MLMs. And one of the things I can say is specific, especially with Amway, especially coming out, we're in college, they don't teach you. And now I'm hearing there are entrepreneurial type programs. Back then we didn't have them. If they did, they were not popular. We were taught to go work for someone. That's what we went to college.
Exactly.
To work for someone.
100%.
So myself and my husband were young, we're so excited, got these great jobs, and then to get exposed to something like Amway. And it wasn't necessarily the products for me, it was actually the training. It changed my mind, my thought pattern and everything. And I would have to say where I am today and where my husband is today is attributed to a lot of the training that we did with Amway and a lot of the multi-level marketing companies, the books we read, Good to Great, How to Win Friends and Influence People. All these things are transferable to not just there, but you can transfer that to any business, even if you want to stay in corporate. All those things are there. So I would have to attribute a lot of my where I'm at today to changing my mind different. See, you were good. I shouldn't say a head start, but you were exposed to entrepreneurship very early on. It was, and it seems like embedded in you. Whereas for me, it was not. My whole thing was you're college, great job, work for somebody, make that money. And I did that. But it was that shift, it was that change. And like, okay, I have this, but I'm making someone else's dreams come true. I'm doing this for some. Well, what about me? I won't, So it kind of really helped helped me just that shift, that paradigm shift. And I'm just so thankful and happy that they are having entrepreneurial type degrees and all of that, because for me, it wasn't that. I was trained to go get a job. And that's how we were trained. So I do attribute it, Amway and the training to my mind, my paradigm shift. So
100%. And that was part of it. One of the books that I know you read, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
And learn the difference between being self-employed and being a business owner. That's another mindset shift for a lot of people. But exposed to it through all the tape. I have so many tapes I've spent.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of money on.
A lot of money. We had
self-help books
tapes
and business books. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So
do you even know what a cassette tape is, Nick?
Yeah. Do you know?
I'm not that young.
And the books are just there. All the books, like Stacia said, Rich Dad Poor Dad, all this knowledge. And these are, I have them. Somebody come over, they can go to my library. You should probably read this book, read this book, read this book. And I hated reading. I hated reading in college, but read them or throw. Well, I used to throw the cassettes on.
Cassette tape, that's right.
Yeah, cassette tapes and go for a ride, go to a conference, and that's all we did. So our mind was just exposed and we just absorbed it. And it became a way of, like we talked about freedom, before. So, it wasn't just about the money. It wasn't about that. It was about the freedom for me, free to do what I want to do.
That's right.
One time, but again, you have to have that mindset, working for yourself and like you said, it is a difference. And we can talk about that being a, entrepreneur and then a business owner and all of that it takes learning. I'm still learning. I'm still
100% always
lifelong learner. So awesome.
Yes indeed. Yeah, I didn't do Amway, but I was recruited to do Amway just a few years ago, actually. But I never went through. I did go through the vetting process, but I didn't go through with the opportunity. But yeah, all of the commonalities are coming together here. So that makes me excited. And going back to the passion point that you made, Stacia, that's something that DJ always talks about. He always mentions, and then Tanya, you mentioned Good to Great. DJ always talks about the hedgehog concept from Good to Great. Having those three, that three-pronged approach to business. The passion is only one part of it, but you also have to have the economic vehicle, and you have to be, the best at what you do, and that's your formula for success there. So we're getting so we're at the end, but we will take one more commercial break and then we will wrap up with our final thoughts, with what we took away from Stacia's story. Stay tuned. You're watching Bet on Black.
Hi DJ, happy anniversary to you and your team. Since meeting you, I have had the pleasure of meeting other people among your team who have given me the knowledge to be able to take my business to the next level. So I'm definitely looking forward to a better year from here on out. So thank you very much for placing those people in my path. Continued success to you and your team, and thank you.
Hi, my name is Nisha. I'm an entrepreneur dealing mostly in e-commerce. I recently launched an Amazon coaching service. Was looking to scale my business and get some help with financial planning, and I came across DJ the Money Coach and his services. I have been lucky enough to work with him and his team for the last month and a half, and I've signed on for a longer membership. DJ and his team are highly accessible, very friendly. They are encouraging and eager to walk you through the steps to what they call the pom-pom lifestyle.
Welcome back to Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy. And wow, this has been an amazing conversation. You know, so many great gems and jewels that I'm sure Tanya took away. You know, you could tell from her engagement, and I'm sure she was surprised to learn some of the things that she had in common with Stacia. And I'll give her a few minutes to talk about, you know, what she took away from this conversation. But before we do that, Stacia, I guess to tie your backstory together in a nice, pretty bow, what would you say is a central idea, theme, or lesson that our viewers can take away from your backstory? You know, starting from your early years up to now.
Well, I would say a common theme is to just, what I hope people take away from it, quite frankly, is to learn to identify their own worth and to align and build their own team of people. No one wants to be by themselves when they are moving through life. And when you reach certain levels of success, you don't want to be there by yourself either. So build strong relationships and stay engaged and be open to learning and learning something that you don't know and meeting other people that are different from you. That's really how I would put it in a bow.
Okay. All right. Tanya, what did you take away from this conversation this evening?
Well, that myself and Stacia have so much in common. You know?
Yes, absolutely.
But again, life, like she said, just learning, life learners, and you can do that learning from other people and other situations. So, and again, I would just say in terms of what I learned is in terms of Stacia's in the entrepreneurship, that it was embedded from her from just from, I want to say at birth, but at a very, very young age. And that is just so inspiring that she was, you know, still inspiring other people from what she was inspired to do. So that is a blessing in itself. And I'm just so excited about our dialogue and our continued dialogue that we will have in the future, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna unwrap so many wonderful thought-provoking topics and to stretch each and every one of us.
And as Dale always says, we're smart people. We're going to figure out how to help each other do even better.
That's right. That's awesome.
Yep, absolutely. So Tanya, before I kick it back to Stacia to give her final words and to close out, you can go ahead and close out and you know, with anything that you need, that you would like to promote or contact information, and then we'll go ahead and.
Again, for everyone, I am Tanya Archibald. I'm the broker owner of Great Lakes Property Management Group, which is a full service real estate and property management company. And we stay from womb to tomb. We help you purchase the property. We help you rehab the property. We help you manage it and sell it. So again, my website is www.greatlakespmg.com. Again, www.greatlakespmg.com. And we also are consultants. So anything about real estate, definitely give me a call or look us up.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Tanya. Okay. Stacia, tell us about the BeneChoice.
BeneChoice Companies. It stands for good choice. And our value proposition is to help employers modernize their benefits. So it's not a benefit if the employees don't know about it. And it's not a benefit if they're not protecting their paycheck. So you can protect payroll. And so a good referral for us is people who are looking to work with multi-generations of workers. You've got 5 generations in the workplace now, and you can't communicate to all of them in the exact same way. So we're just looking to help people across the country help their employees and help employers maximize the dollar spent on benefits. Our website is BeneChoiceCompanies.com, BeneChoice companies.com. So hope to see everybody and look forward to further conversations with everything that DJ the Money Coach and all of you are doing. Look forward to collaborating with you, Tanya.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. So again, you have been watching Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy. Make sure you like this video, share it with everyone, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can receive the notifications for when our shows air. And of course, we have a bunch of programs that we're bringing to you on a weekly basis. We have Medical Mondays. We have A Story, we have Bet on Black, the men, the family, the legacy on Thursday nights. We have Nick's Knowledge and Notions. And of course, we have our weekly webinar series. So you will also want to get on the email list to receive the notifications about the shows as well as the webinars. You can get on the email list by visiting www.djthemoneycoach.com. And you can input your email to get on our email list. So the way that we close all of our programs out is that we wish you a pom-pom lifestyle that is plenty of money, peace of mind, and we want you to come join us on the Beaches of the World Club. And your beach may not be next to sand or water, but your beach is wherever you find your freedom and your peace of mind. I'm Nick Westbrooks, and for Miss Tonia Archibald and Miss Stacia Robinson, we thank you for joining us, and and I thank the ladies for giving us their time and their stories, and we look forward to seeing you on the next program. Take care.
Hi, I'm DJ the Money Coach. Don't touch that dial. You want to become financially independent? You want to have consumer debt freedom? You want to have passive income, learn how to build a business, acquire real estate, and achieve the lifestyle you deserve in 2021? Well, hit that link below right now. We've worked with over 20,000 people in the past 2 decades, helping them become consumer debt free, increase their credit scores by 30 to 60 points in 30 days or less, and help them acquire businesses through real estate, taxes, and a network of experts just like me. So you'll get a complete 3-hour, 18-module course called Family Finance 101 that'll teach you A to Z how to become consumer debt free, credit worthy, and it puts you in position to become a certified entrepreneur. We'll also give you a complimentary consultation with me that's a $500 value. Why would you want to do that? Because I have already achieved that, and I can help you achieve your American dream in 2021. Hit the link below, get the free webinar and the complimentary consultation, and I'll see you soon and wish you a pom-pom lifestyle that's plenty of money and peace of mind. Come join us.
Toledo Organic Tequila is so crisp, so incredibly smooth, it's simply in a category by itself. This is luxury. Life tastes better naturally, so should your tequila. This is Toledo. Enjoy responsibly. Visit ToledoTequila.com to get your bottle of Toledo Organic Tequila. Get a 10% discount on DJ the Money Coach by entering promo code MONEY at checkout. Again, that's ToledoTequila.com, promo code MONEY to get 10% off your Toledo purchase.